full 1.2 Wuling base next. Okay, I've finally done it again. Well, anyways, here's the requirements. First, you have to at least have a level 10 in Wuling. The ore yields must be as follows. Make sure to meta transfer Ferium 1500. Have spare batteries. And if you haven't already, make sure that you build the Jingyu Valley Sub PAC base in this video. I will put the link in the description. So I almost forgot, this is the stats before we start. So this is how it should look like for your stats after you finish. Except maybe the components, because I already maxed out mine. Also, here are the layouts. I hope these can help you while you build. Alright, let's get started. To get started, let's start at the main base. The river will be over here, at the bottom of our screen when we go top down. Remember, the river at the bottom. First, let's place the AIC core on the bottom left over here, with 4 spaces in here, at the bottom. Let's begin by putting down 2 thermal banks, facing on the left, the opening I mean, and then make sure to connect it like this, outputting SC batteries. Make sure to put down a splitter right over here, so both of them can get batteries. Next, let's place down a refining unit over here, facing to the right, another one over here, also facing to the right, and then on the top over here, like this, same orientation, mirrored, and then take a shredding unit with the same pattern, like this. There we go. Now, place a protocol stash facing to the right, over here, and over here. And then a pylon to power all of it, right here and right here. Now, make sure to turn off the water mode. Now once you do, make sure you're outputting Ferium on all 4 of these. Now simply connect like this. And we should be good. Now for the top. There we go. Now we have Ferium powder ready to go. Let's proceed on the right over here for the plants. Now over here at the bottom right, let's start making the plants. Let's begin by placing down a planting unit facing downwards, a seed picking unit facing to the right, and then a planting unit facing to the left like this. Make sure that it's aligned correctly like this. Turn off the water mode for the planting units. And then take a protocol stash over here with the opening on the right. Now, place a pylon right over here. And then, let's connect the belts. There we go. Now, we need 3 of these, so let's copy this 2 times. Rotate twice and place it over here. Rotate once and place it over here. It should look like that. Now, to continue, we need a seed picking unit on the bottom right, or rather the bottom left over here. Place it facing to the left, and then another planting unit facing to the right. The opening for the water should be on the bottom. Now place a shredding unit right over here, facing to the top, and a protocol stash with the same orientation, also facing to the top. Now, let's connect the belts. Oops. There we go. Make sure to power with the pylon right over here. So, we need a fluid pump for this. For now, let's place down a fluid pump on the bottom, right there, and then just connect it straight. Let's place a pylon right here. Now, while we're already here, let's place down a fluid supply unit right over here, along with a conduit outlet connecting to it. This will be a surprise tool that will help us later. Anyways, let's go back to the left. Now, over here, let's place down 6 fluid pumps, next to each other. There we go. Now, for the first 4, it's gonna be an inlet manifold, the one with 2 openings. Place it anywhere here. And then for the right 2, is a conduit inlet with only one opening. There we go. Now take a pipe converter, place it anywhere here and here. Make sure it goes into the inlet. You can adjust this however you like. And then let's connect them. Make sure that 4 fluid pumps go to this one, like this. There we go. And then 2 goes into the inlet over here. And then let's power with a pylon right here and right here. As long as you power all of them, it should be fine. Now let's go on the top left over here and put a conduit outlet manifold, the one with 2 openings, on the top left. Let's place down a conduit outlet on the top right, facing to the left. Now, once you've placed those, let's connect all of them together. The inlet goes to the inlet on the top right. And then, that manifold goes to the manifold over there. There we go. Now we can proceed with the build. Alright, starting here on the top left, let's place down the depot buses. First, make sure that it's at least 4 spaces away from the top. Let's begin. Place a port over here, and then a depot bus section all the way to the right. There we go. Now, let's make the Coprium parts. There we go. Alright, for the first build, it's going to be Couprium and our sewage source. So first, let's place down 4 depot unloaders over here, next to each other. We're gonna output Couprium on all 4. There we go. Now, a refining unit, 2 pairs, placed like this. The alignment is as follows. There we go. Now, let's take a protocol stash and place it over here and over here. Now, 2 water treatment units below the protocol stashes, right here and right here, both facing to the middle. Now, a conduit inlet next to this protocol stash with the opening on the top. First, let's connect the waters, but before that, let's place a pipe splitter over here, facing on the bottom, over here as well, and over here. And then convergers, right over here, facing to the bottom as well, and over here. There we go. Now, don't forget, another splitter over here, facing to the bottom as well. Connect it to the water treatment on the left. And then we can proceed connecting this outlet to the build. Go straight down into this refining unit, it should cover. And then go here, click here, and then go straight down to this refining unit. Now, as for the pylon, it's placed over here. Do not forget, over here. It powers everything. Now, let's continue with the pipes. The sewage output goes here, straight down into the splitter. And then for this one, it goes to the outlet, or rather the inlet, right here. Now, connect the belts. And there we go. We should be done for the Couprium and the sewage source. Now let's proceed on the Yazhen Syringe A. Alright, for the Yazhen A, let's start by placing down 5 depot unloaders over here, next to each other. Make sure to have 1 space here. And then, let's put down 2 fitting units next to each other, a reactor crucible next to it, a molding unit next to it as well. Now, for the next part, it's gonna be a filling unit right over here. Make sure the opening is right here. And then a packaging unit over here on this spot. Now, let's connect the belts. This depot unloader goes here. 2 goes into the molding unit. And then let's connect as usual. And there we go. Don't forget to place down a protocol stash right over here with the opening on the left. Connect the packaging unit to it, and then power with a pylon over here. There we go. Now we need water source. Take one here and then go straight down right there. Connect to the reactor crucible, and then this crucible goes into the filling unit. For the outputs of the depot unloader, it's going to be Couprium, the processed one, on all two on the outer parts. For the middle one, it's going to be Yazhen powder. There we go. Then Coprium for the remaining ones. And it should look like that. Make sure to choose the right solution on the right pipe on the reactor crucible. And that's it for the Yajin build. Now next to it, we will now build the Coprium powder. Now for the Coprium powder, all we need to do is put a depot unloader over here, two of them, next to this depot unloader, and then output Coprium ore specifically. And then let's take a refining unit and place it like usual for the Coprium, and then a shredding unit right here with the same pattern, and then a protocol stash here on the left. Placed this way, the opening should be on the right. And then let's connect. Now once we've done that, we need a power source. Let's place a Xiranite pylon right over here. It's a good spot. And then take two water treatment units, place it over here and over here. Connect the refining unit straight to it. Now we need a water source. Let's go to logistics and put a pipe splitter over here, facing to the right. Place it right there, and then click on it and bring it all the way here to the second refining unit. Make sure to click on this spot and then to the right. And then place a pipe splitter over here, facing downwards. And that should be working in full action. Now let's proceed with the Shircon build over here. Now for the Shircon and the heavy Xiranite, let's start by placing down two depot unloaders over here on the top. Make sure that it's at least 4 spaces away from this one. And then an expanded crucible below it, facing downwards, connect, and then output Ferium powder and Xiranite. There we go. Now copy this 3 times with 2 spaces in between. Remember, 2 spaces in between. Now, place down 2 depot unloaders again, this time with only 1 space over here. Place a forge to the sky right here, facing downwards. Output Xiranite on both. There we go. And then connect. And then place a protocol stash over here with the opening on the left. Connect it like this. And then an inlet over here with the output, or rather the input, on the left. Place a Xiranite pylon right over here. Place a purification unit over here. Make sure the orientation is correct. And then connect it to the inlet over here. Click here first, and then do it like this. And then the yellow pipe, click here, and then go straight to the forge to the sky. Now, let's work on everything else. But first, let's also place down a protocol stash right over here and right over here. You can maybe move it a bit. There we go. You can fix the orientation later. But first, let's handle the sewage source. For this one, place a conduit outlet over here. Let's connect this to our outlet here earlier, or rather inlet. Now once you've done that, go back here And then let's start connecting the pipes. This is the confusing part. Now for the pipes, let's start by placing a pipe splitter over here, facing to the top, another one over here, facing to the right, and then finally another one over here, facing to the right as well. Make sure it's aligned like this, connect like this. And then for this one, do it like this. There we go. Now let's connect the sewage later. Let's connect the water first. I moved this a bit, it was here earlier. I place it here. Now connect this to the leftmost one first. There we go. Now for everyone in between, do the same like this. There we go. Now for every intersection over here, place a splitter facing to the left, like this. I did not mean to do this. There we go. Now, let's connect the sewage. And then, the expanded crucibles should be producing the materials now. Very important, do not forget to power this like I did. Oops. Now, for the yellow pipe, we will input, or rather output, inert Shircon effluent. And then the item would be Shircon, of course. Now do the same for every other one. There we go. And then for the last one. There we go. Now, place a converger over here. Right over here. Starting from the second one, facing to the right, place it here. Another one over here. And then finally, right here, facing downwards. And then, from the yellow pipes, connect like this. Click here. Go all the way to the right here. Connect every single yellow pipe to the converger. And then the one on the right will simply connect to this one, going into the purification unit. Since we already connected this earlier, it should be working fully right now. All that's missing is to connect two belts from the right and the left. So let's start with the left. Connect the belts to make sure we're getting the Shircon. And then on the right, do it like this. Click here. And then go down. There we go. We should be finished with this. This is now gonna provide Shircon for, if I'm not mistaken, 60 per minute, because each one is only working at 50%. But don't forget the surprise tool earlier. We're actually gonna use it now. We're gonna connect this inlet to the fluid supply unit. Right here. There we go. We're almost finished with the main base. All that's left is the batteries. Now, going back here on the top, to begin, let's place down a depot bus port over here. Exactly over here. And then place down two going downwards. And then rotate. And then place it right here. Going to the right. All the way. There we go. Now, let's start building the SC batteries. Let's begin by rotating. We're now inverted. We're gonna build it here. This is the same build as my last full base. So if you still have that, you can just paste it. But if not, let's build it right now. Alright, to begin with the SC batteries, let's start by placing down 6 depot unloaders like this, next to each other. For the first two, it's gonna be originium, and then sand leaf, another originium for the next two, and then Shircon for the 6th one. Now copy everything except the Shircon, and then place it on the other side right here. Now we need 5 shredding units on each side. Place it like this, make sure it's offset by a bit. Now place 5. Leave 1 space and then place another 5. There we go. Now take a grinding unit and then place it right here. The alignment, be mindful. And then leave 2 spaces here. Leave 1 space here for the Shircon. And then 2 spaces again. For the pylons, place 1 over here and over here. Now take a packaging unit and place it right here. Make sure that's only 1 space here. And then a protocol stash right over here with the opening on the bottom. Now let's connect everything together. The Shircon goes straight down. This one goes to both grinding units. This one also goes to both grinding units. And then the grinding units all go into the packaging unit. And then finally connect to the protocol stash. Now, if you've already built this, just copy it and then paste it again. There we go. Now we have completed the main base. All that's left is the sub PACs. Here is a final look before we proceed to the sub base. Now let's proceed to the sub base. Now for the sub base in Jingyu Valley, I'm still using the same one in this video, which I linked in the description as I've said earlier. I'm still using that one, so make sure to build that first. So the only thing I can actually add is someone pointed out that you can actually place a fluid pump, all 6 in this corner. The way to do it is to have 3 here, 2 down here, and then you can place 1 over here on the left. It's hidden below the trees, but you can place it. And you can also drag a pipe from it, see? But other than that, let's proceed to the new sub base, the one with the acid. Now for the new sub base, marker stone, let's start by having the acid on our left. And then let's place the fluid pumps first. We only need 1 on the top over here, power with the pylon, and then 1 for the acid, make sure it's the new one, and then a fluid supply to dump the acid later. Make sure to power with the pylon as well, and then we can get started on the build. Alright, for the first build in the sub PAC, let's start with a Xiranite printer with the remaining Forge of the Sky we can use. So first, let's place down a seed picking unit over here facing downwards, a planting unit facing upwards, a seed picking unit facing upwards, and a planting unit facing downwards. Next is another planting unit over here facing to the left. Turn off the water mode for this one, as well as this one. Next, a refining unit over here facing to the right. Turn off the water mode. And then 3 shredding units placed like this. Let's connect the belts. There we go. This refining unit goes to the first, and then click here and go to the third. This planting unit goes into the middle one. Now let's proceed down here. First, a grinding unit aligned like this with 1 space. 3 spaces to the right over here. There's 3 spaces here. And then a protocol stash over here. Now, take a refining unit, place it over here, facing to the right. Another one, place it over here, facing to the left. There we go. And then a Forge of the Sky over here. Make sure the opening is right here. Turn off the water mode for the refining units. And there we go. Lastly, a protocol stash right here. Connect the belts. The shredding units from the refining unit goes to the grinding unit with 2 belts each. And then the sand leaf one will go from this to this one, to the protocol stash, and then straight into over here. Make sure it crosses. And then double check if everything's connected. And then power with a pylon here, here, and here. Now, what we need to do is to connect this fluid pump all the way here going to this planting unit, and then also to the Forge of the Sky. Make sure to put a pipe splitter over here facing downwards. Boom. Let's go. And then everything should be working fine once we've put the WIII Plants in. How could I forget? And then a sand leaf on this one as usual. There we go. This is the Xiranite printer. Let's go. Let's proceed to the Hetonite components. This one on the left. Now for the Hetonite components here on the left, let's start by placing a depot bus port over here and a section over here. Place down 2 pairs of depot unloaders like this, with 1 space in between each other. For the first one, it's going to be heavy Xiranite. And then for the middle ones, it's going to be Couprium powder. For the last one, it's going to be Ferium powder. Now, take a reactor crucible, place it over here, pipe outputs on the bottom, another one over here, pipe outputs on the right, another one, 3 spaces down over here, pipe outputs on the right as well, purification unit over here, with the outputs on the right. Now, a fitting unit on the bottom here, facing to the left, a gearing unit over here, facing downwards, aligned like this. Now, take a protocol stash facing to the right, connect it like that, and then a water treatment unit with the opening on the right. Let's connect the belts, starting from this one, click here, go straight down, the Coprium powder to the crucibles, this Ferium powder, click here, go down, click here, going to the 3rd crucible, and then this crucible to the fitting to the gearing, and that should be good. Make sure to place down an electric pylon, or rather a Xiranite pylon over here and over here. Now let's connect the pipes. Let's get the acid from over here. Go straight into the 2nd one, click here, and then take a splitter facing to the right, place it here. Take a converger facing to the left, place it here. From the yellow pipe on this crucible, take a pipe, go straight, click here, and then go into the purification unit. Now let's output the correct products on the pipe. For this one, onto the yellow pipe. For this one, onto the orange pipe. The purification unit goes into the reactor crucible because the output on the yellow is the one for the Hetonite solution. Now for the orange pipe, make sure to press here and then go all the way to this fluid supply unit. Click here first and then dump it there. Now make sure that this reactor crucible is outputting Hetonite, and then on the yellow pipe, sewage, which will go straight into this water treatment unit. And that is it for the Hetonite component factory. Let's make the Coprium component and Xiranite component next. Alright, now for the last build, just rotate and then place a depot bus on the bottom here, and then let's start building. First, we need 5 depot unloaders. Place them together. For the first one, it's gonna be Coprium, the refined one. and then Xiranite, and then 2 originium ores, and then finally sand leaf, the powder one. There we go. Now place a shredding unit over here and over here. Finally, a grinding unit right here. Why did I say finally? I don't know. And then a refining unit over here and over here, facing downwards and then upwards. Now, on the left, let's start by placing a fitting unit right here, and then a gearing unit right here. A protocol stash over here, and then another gearing unit right over here facing to the left. Let's connect this refining unit, click here, going here, and then let's connect everything together. There we go. This one goes here. And then take a logistics splitter for the belt downwards over here, and then make it go into this gearing unit as well, and then connect both to the protocol stash. And then let's actually move this a bit. Make sure that it's like this. Click here and then over here, so we can put a Xiranite pylon right here, powering everything. And that should be all. Oh wait, not yet. Don't forget to turn off the water mode for both the refining units over here. Now, if everything's working properly, that should be all. Goodbye. Hello, thank you very much for reaching the end of the video. If you liked this, make sure to like and subscribe. And that will be it for now. I will now sleep. I am tired. I do not know what to say here. Anyways, bye bye.